Hey guys, I'm gonna show you real quick how I made the panels. I'm gonna show you how I made the template to make the panels. So if you just follow this, you put the template on the plastic and mark it out, you'll be good to go. So what I did was I used two measurements, the width and the length, to get started, which it's 22.5 wide. It doesn't have to be, you can make it whatever width you want. 16 inches brings you down, pretty far. I left mine up just a hair. I think I went 15.5, but when you put the trim on and everything, it's very close to 16. So I used painter's tape after I got these edges squared, and then I put it on here. And it's very important that you make sure that this top piece is straight, because if it ain't, boy, nothing else will be. So get it on there good and straight where you want it. This edge is over here. It's probably 3/8 of an inch from the end, and that doesn't really matter right now because I can move it back a hair or whatever. Plus I'm putting the trim on it and everything, but the battery's still on here too. And I would recommend if you're building one of these right out of the gate, I would take the battery off first, get everything good, then put your battery back on before you put your Velcro on. So first thing I do is I go up here and I look. You can maybe see I got some LEDs down here, so I didn't run it all the way down to there. I stayed up about 1/2 of an inch with mine. But you can basically, just for the video's sake, I'm not going to do a ton of measuring and stuff, but I am just going to do this so you can get a gist of what I did do to make this. So at the top and the bottom, make a spot, mark in the same spot to follow that down tube there. And then back here where the triangle tube is, I'm not even going to make a mark. I'm just going to go from that point there, and I'm going to make a mark down here at the bottom. And for me, it's a little easier to cut this off. So now I can get down there with my marker. Let's see here, make sure everything's good and square. So yeah, okay, so like make notice of how wide it is here, 3/8 of an inch maybe. So I'm gonna go down here and try to replicate it. Now, I did spend more time on mine when I was making them, obviously, but I'm doing this just to get a video out there so you guys can get an idea how to do this. I mean, it's certainly no rocket science involved here. Let me just try and get this somewhere where you can see me where I'm cutting these things. So, straight edge here. And the piece that I bought is, I believe it's a 24 by 48 piece of ABS. It's a little bit bigger than what you need, but the other piece I bought was just too small to do two panels. It didn't go down far enough. I didn't like where it went down on the frame. It wasn't quite deep enough for me. So I bought another piece, which was the 24 by 48. And so now you can see I've got the panel fairly well cut out. And now I'm going to put it back on here. We'll see how well it fits, and then go from there. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good actually. And here too, yeah, I would be putting it down just a hair more because you're not gonna want it up. If you have a triangle battery on here and you have straps and stuff up here, it won't quite fit real well if you make it that long. So I made it sit below it a little bit. This is just a hair higher than I'd like it. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And then when you get it all in place, you can make some marks on here to, if you want to be able to get at your switch, which I do. So what I did was I marked out where my switch was, and then I marked the bottom part of it, because this here, you're going to want to round these corners. If you don't, you're going to end up with, it's going to be very difficult to bend the trim that goes in there on it. So, but you can do that, you know, according to your own battery. I don't know if they're all identical, if the switches are in the exact same spot or whatever, but as you can see on my panel here, you see how I got it cut out, and I rounded these edges, which is this front edge here and around here. If you can round it off a little bit, it makes that trim sit in there a little bit nicer, so you don't have like a 90-degree angle, especially like down in this here. You know, I know you're gonna have trouble getting that in there perfect, so I made it rounded. I think it looks pretty good like that. So anyway, once you get that cut out, that's the template. Now, when you go to put this on your plastic, I recommend cutting this plastic from the black shiny side. It cuts much nicer. This is very tough to get the blade to follow along because there's so many divots and grooves and things in here. And I wouldn't recommend using the black shiny side because it's not very clean, very easily scratches and stuff. So personally, I like this side, but you do you. And then these are just stick-ons that I bought off of Amazon for like $15. And so after I got this all cut out, ready to go, then I take it, and you're gonna wanna write, you know, make sure you put the front on here, so when you go to cut this on here, when you flip this over, make sure you flip this over also. Don't make the mistake of not flipping that over and then cutting it backwards on accident. You put this on the shiny side and cut it like this, it's going to be reversed. So make sure you flip it over, put it on the back side of the plastic. And then I took this Velcro. You can probably see there's quite a bit of Velcro on here, and the way I did it was nothing special other than I tried to get it perfectly lined up with what's on the battery. Now, what I did do was I took the Velcro and I put the pieces on here. Once I got this on, I put the pieces on where I knew I'd want it. And then what I did do was I took some of this painter's tape and I went over the Velcro like this. And I did like maybe another piece like this. And I did a lot, so that just a little bit of the Velcro would grab. Then I took the other piece that's on the panel and I peeled the backing off and I stuck them on here real light. And I did that on all of these. And the reason being is so that when I put the panel right exactly where I wanted it, I got it all lined up like this, and all that Velcro, the sticky side facing here, I was able to push this on, push it on good and firm, and pull it off, and it wasn't hardly stuck because of all that tape is keeping the Velcro from adhering. So it adhered to the panel, and then I was able to pull it off, and all the Velcro came off on the panel. Of course, it wasn't real tight because I hadn't pressed it real firm, and I didn't want to have it coming off before I got it stuck here. If I had pulled the panel off and left it on there, it wouldn't have stuck to the panel. So once I got it off and it was loose on here, I took my finger and I went over it really good and made sure, you know, it was good and firm and everything. And then I just, you know, went back and then took all this off. And then you can just stick it right on there. But as you can see, if you don't want them on, you can pull them off in 2 seconds flat. I mean, they're very lightweight. I've had a few people ask about how much weight is involved with them, and I can tell you, not much. And I also did make a few other things out of it. I used a piece to make this here, which I did put the shiny side out there only because I felt like it matched the fairing a little bit better. And then I made these front panels for my light switches out of it, which I put the black side out on those, or the rough side. the finished side. And then I did the same thing for this. I don't know how that happened, but I got a nice dent in there now. But yeah, so I made some back panels and stuff. You will have some extra, so there's probably enough to make one extra panel if you actually mess something up, if you buy the piece I'm talking about. But with the extra that I had, I made like this panel right here for the seat. It sits under it. I wanted to add some yellow to the seat, so I wasn't sure how to do it. And then I had a little idea. I thought, well, why don't I try to make a, you know, just a piece of plastic that the seat can sit on, and I can run this yellow trim around it, because this yellow trim's basically real similar to the stuff that I put on here, which you'll be able to find all that if you just, you know, find my name at the top, which obviously if you're looking at this video, you know how to find me. But go on my name and look down. You'll find in my links, I have a link for the ABS. I have a link for the trim and all that stuff. And that's basically how I did it. Thinking about taking this yellow off of this. I made a panel for this just to, because the bag was sagging a bit. And I had another way. I had a board inside of it. I wasn't thrilled with it, but I thought I'd try the yellow out. But I don't know if I really like the yellow on the bag there or not. So... but anyways, that's what I did, and it's quite easy. Anybody can do it, you know, just take your time with the template, and, you know, you'll end up with a pretty nice panel, I think. So good luck. If you got any questions, hit me up.